Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as M to the third, and today we're doing something fun. I thought it would be fun. I hope you also think that it's fun, which is we are going to create a tier list of the top 50 most favorited patterns on Ravelry. If you watched the latest episode of Sibling Energy, which is the podcast that I host with my friend Tim, we talked about the some of the most popular patterns on Ravelry, and so there's a few categories that can kind of get confusing. So there's most favorites, most projects, most popular, and then most queued. So we were kind of confused about most popular versus most favorites. So basically what people have said since we posted that video is that most popular is the most amount of views, whereas most projects obviously is the most projects, and then most favorites is most favorites. So we were just confused about what was most popular versus most favorites. So most popular, views, most favorites is based on favorites. So I wanted to go through the most favorited projects and just put them in a tier list. Hey guys, editing Mackenzie here really quick. So I was at book club last night. I'm finishing editing this morning, and I was talking about this video, and they were like, how many petite knit patterns? And I was like, it's so funny. There are no petite knit patterns in the most favorited. And everyone was like, huh, that is weird. I wouldn't expect that. Hi, I have Petite Knit and Andrea Mowry and Caitlin Hunter and Isabell Kramer all blocked from my Ravelry search because just at different times in my career as a knitter, I've been looking and they're dominating the search. And so you can go in and block specific designers from showing up in search results. Now, I forgot that I had done this, okay? I just wasn't thinking about it at all. So, as I was editing this morning, I went, yeah, of course there's no petite knit patterns because I have them all hidden. So this is missing some of the heavy hitters, but you know what? As I was thinking about it, I think that is okay because we hear about them. We know about them. This is still the most favorited pattern. So anyway, even though it was an accident, I stand by the choice. So you will not be seeing any of their designs. I'm sorry, but it's without those designers that we are looking at the most favorites. Okay? Just a caveat in case anyone was like, something is missing. I mean, I've seen multiple tier lists of people only ranking petite knit patterns. So if you want that, you can go watch with them. Okay? Let's go. So I want to say, I do want to hear your opinion on this. If you strongly disagree about where I put anything, let me know. It won't change my mind. But this is a discourse. It's just for fun, okay? There's no hard feelings. But without further ado, let me reveal my tier list. Okay, I know, but here. So we've got top tier, S tier, is an infinite. What is an infinite, you might ask? It's something that I want to knit over and over again that I've already knit multiple times. This is rare for me. Knitting a pattern multiple times is not something that I do frequently, but when it does happen, it's significant. So there's infinite, and then the next one is knit shit. So this is hot shit, knit shit. So this is the second category where this is a great pattern. I might recommend it. I like it, but I'm not necessarily going to knit it 500 times. And then we've got sort of the neutral category. It's not overly offensive, but I am not necessarily rearing to cast it on or even interested in casting it on. It might just sort of serve a utilitarian purpose, and this is the tier I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Then we've got irrelevant. There are some patterns on here that were popular at a time. They had their moment, and maybe their moment is over. they're kind of irrelevant, and you'll see the trends. And then last but not least, not to be rude, but kind of to be rude, we've got a shit knit. So this is not something I'd recommend, not something that I ever want to knit. And in fact, I find it mildly offensive. This is where I believe the controversy might come in. So we'll see about it. We'll see how it goes. I've got my iced coffee. I've got my muscle burra that I spent the morning getting to the point where I'm just doing stockinette. And let's get into knit. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm like this, and it's just the way it's gonna be. Okay, so we are gonna be looking at the list in order. And the first one up is the ranunculus. So this is obviously an extremely popular pattern. I have not knit one, nor do I really feel a strong desire to. It's very oversized. I have seen some that I have found pretty. Personally, not really into how big the neck is. I prefer the ones that are kind of like a cellulose fiber as opposed to a wool. I know people love this pattern. It's like a go-to, but it's not my personal favorite. I'm going to put it in I'll allow knit. I'll allow knit. I don't find it, not for me, not my favorite, not my least favorite. So there we go. Next up is the Field Sweater by Camilla Vaude. I think this sweater is really pretty. I do know from our friends who have knitted in like my knitting group that the stitch pattern is a little like just not smooth. Like they were like pretty ready to be done with the yoke motif, but it's a really beautiful sweater. I think it's like a nice, interesting, not quite basic, but like a little more. So I'm gonna put this in knit shit. Yeah, because I think it's pretty. Up next, Hermione's Everyday Sock by Erica Luter. This is like classic, little bit of a stitch pattern, really great for variegated yarns. This definitely, I wonder when this came out. 2009. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I feel, aside from the Harry Potter IP, which we know is not cool at this point, I find it pretty inoffensive. I think we'll just put it in I'll allow knit. Okay, flax worsted. Okay, actually, I'm going to talk about the next two together because flax worsted and by Tin Can Knits and then Step by Step Sweater by Florence Miller are one right after another, which I find really interesting because they both are very good first sweater projects. And I have been recommending the flax sweater for years, and the Step by Step Sweater is definitely newer. I think it came out within the last couple of years. I believe there's a YouTube tutorial for it. I think probably once or twice a week I help someone at the yarn store find yarn for it. So both of these I think are great beginner ones. I haven't knit either of them personally, but like I've definitely helped people with the flax worsted sweater. Like the pattern is really geared towards beginners. They're both free. I think they're both in I'll allow knit. I will probably continue to recommend them, to people who are interested in getting into their first sweater projects. Nothing to it but to do it. Okay. The next one is called Raina by Nora Backlund. It is a triangle shawl with some lace detailing. It's, you know, the cover photo is a variegated yarn. I'm assuming this came out in around 2010. Oh, 2015. Okay, that tracks. I think, like, it's inoffensive. I don't really have any anecdotes with this. Like, I don't know her. There are trends with triangle shawls and cowls. And I will tell you, there's a lot of cowls on here, and I just don't think they're very trendy right now. Like, we're in a moment of, like, the little shawlettes, and it's possible that they will come back. And that'll be great, but in this day and age, in this year of 2026, I think it's irrelevant. I don't think it's really doing anything for me or anyone else. So it's going into irrelevant. Okay. Next up is the Musselburgh. If you can't tell from the fact that that's what I'm working on, I love the Musselburgh. I think it's a very, like, sophisticated looking knitting pattern. I think it's super clever the way it's written. It not exactly reminds me of Elizabeth Zimmerman, but it has the, like, ethos of Elizabeth Zimmerman, where it's like you're, like, trusting the process as a knitter to finish you know, the project. And again, it just looks very neat, and I think it makes great gift knitting. I love the Musselburgh. I've knit many, and it is going in infinite. Yeah, it is. All right. The Sabai Top by Suzanne Mueller. I have to say, Tim and I were also looking at this, I think, and I don't really understand why it's so popular. The size range is laughable, so it's not size inclusive. Yeah, it's not doing anything for me. So I think I'm actually going to put this in Shit Knit, our first Shit Knit. And that's because of size inclusivity, okay? If you've knit this and you love it, good for you. I think there are way better options for folks. So anyway, the Age of Brass and Steam shawl. Okay, so I know I just totally shit on the Reina, but this one feels more sophisticated to me. I think it's smaller in part. I definitely remember when we were recommending this pattern a lot. I mean, you know, it's essentially a triangle shawl with, like, very slight customization. But yeah, I think it's a good staple. It's definitely more versatile than the other one. I'm gonna allow it. Look, it doesn't have to make sense. Okay. The Bobble Hat by Donna Smith. I believe this is a Shetland Wool Week pattern. Every year they come out with a stranded colorwork pattern for Shetland Wool Week, and this is the pattern. And it's from 2015. It's very cute. I think it's cute. I'm not really, like, someone who would wear something like that, like, for my personal style. It's fine. I think it's very cute, but it's just not really, like, my style. I think we'll put it in I'll allow knit. Yeah, there we go. You know, I think I actually want to put the flax and the step-by-step sweater in knit shit. I know it doesn't really matter, but I think they belong in knit shit over I'll allow knit. Yeah, that's my choice and I'm sticking to it. Okay. Okay, we've got our first Purl Soho pattern. I'm positive there are more on this top 50 list. This is the classic ribbed hat. I do have one blocking downstairs. I am knitting a couple of hats for our favorite bartender down the street, and I brought in a bunch of yarn, and she picked this one initially and then picked the other one, and I was like, girl, I'll just knit you 2 hats, no problem. So on the second one, but anyway, I used the classic ribbed hat for the first one. It's a great basic, inoffensive. I'm going to put it in Knit Shit because it's free, basic, love when we don't have to do math when we don't need to, etc., etc. So there we go, Purl Soho. Next is the Honey Cowl. Now this one's funny because I was looking at this list and I was like, I remember when, I remember we had a sample of this and people were always asking about it. It's just like a slip stitch pattern. It's sort of like looks and feels like a linen stitch, but with more drapiness. And then as I was looking at this, I'm like, Antonia designed it. And then I'm like, is that the Antonia that I know? And it is. So I met Antonia in Rhinebeck the last couple of years because she works with Woolfolk, and I go to Rhinebeck with Tim, who works for Woolfolk. So I was like, oh, hey girl, seeing you on the Ravelry, most favorites, love this. So that was just kind of kind of funny. But I think this is no hate to Antonia. It's just hating on big cowls because I just don't think they're in right now. It's irrelevant at this point, and that's okay. All right. It's fine. All right, porcelain sweater. I am knitting another pattern by this designer, Lena Holm. What's her last name? Lena Holm Samsa right now. That's the facet sweater. I've seen some really beautiful versions of this in different colors, obviously with the white and the blue. I feel, I don't know, I'll allow knit. Like, it's pretty, it's not, yeah, I'll allow knit. That feels right. Yeah. I think most of these belong in I'll allow knit. But we're going to keep going, okay? We're going. The World's Simplest Mittens, another tin can classic. I wonder if this one is free as well. It is. That one's I'll allow knit. Staple. Solid. Yeah. Sockhead Slouch Hat. This definitely had a moment. Very good for one skein of sock yarn, which I believe is where the idea and everything came from. Okay, I'm going to put it in I'll allow knit. I think there's always a place for single skein projects, especially sock yarn. I would prefer to do a muscle burra, but you know, it's not always the case. So yeah. Next up is the Hitafude, which is a favorite amongst my Knit Night friends. My iconic friend Susan loves the Hitafude. I think it works for her very well. Personally, I would not knit it. I think it's fine. I know that it's complicated to adjust the sizing of it, so there's like not a huge size range. It's knit in a very interesting way. I think I'll allow knit. I'll allow knit. Okay. Next up, we've got the Felix cardigan. So I know this pattern is so popular. I have knit one. Almost every single one of my coworkers has knit one. I know, okay? And I just do not think, I don't think it's a good pattern. I don't really like mine. I don't wear it. I don't really like when I see it on other people. Look, I know it's controversial, but this is my opinion. Putting it in shit knit. Look, if you're mad at me, you can leave a comment down below. Let's discuss. But yeah, it's not my favorite. Sorry, Amy. We've got the Gap-tastic cowl next. Woo! I had one of these in the hottest hot pink of Malabrigo. Actually, maybe it was Monos. I think it was Monos because it was like a single strand that I held double because this requires chunky. I did a million seed stitch and I would wrap it and wear it, and it was just a hot pink like neck brace. Love her, but we are not in a moment of the cowl, and I really do feel like this falls into irrelevant at this point. Yeah. The bandana cowl from Purl Soho, another Purl Soho like fave. I love the bandana cowl. It's very cleverly constructed. It's an easy knit. It's such a good gift knit. All of the gays in the Bay Area when I lived there love the bandana cowl. Honestly, I'm like, I should knit one of those like now. I love the bandana cowl. I would knit 500 of them, and I'm putting them in infinite. Free pattern, really fun to knit, very effective. Love her. Okay. So we did the Felix cardigan. Now we have the Felix pullover. I find her less offensive than the cardigan. I think I'm going to put in irrelevant. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I feel good about that. Waiting for Rain by Sylvia McFadden. Sylvia is such a dear heart. I love this shawl. It's so interesting. I've still never seen anyone else do it like Sylvia did. It is a big, beautiful crescent shawl with short rows of lace in it. So it all works out into this beautiful crescent shawl, but you have these like peaks of lace. And I think I've knit maybe like 2.5 of these. And yeah, it's a stunner. Great shawl. Like I've sort of alluded to, I'm not like a big shawl wearer, but I wear this one. I've made one for my mom, so you know what? Infinite. I would knit that again. I'm kind of itching to cast one on as I talk about it. So there we are in the infinite category. Very fun. This might be controversial. The Beekeeper's Quilt by Tiny Owl Knits. Look, Hexie Puffs were a moment, okay? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You don't need any more minis. I'm not the one. I don't want it. I don't think it looks cute. There was like a cottagecore moment before cottagecore was a thing where like that aesthetic was very appealing, but I don't like it, y'all. I'm personally, I think it's a shit knit. If you, like, speak now or forever hold your peace. If you are a Beekeeper's Quilt stan, like, I want to hear about it, but this is not it for me, you know? Purl Soho once again with the garter ear flap hat. Obviously this baby is freaking adorable. But even prior to that, I think this is a great pattern. I believe it's available in all sizes, even though the baby is obviously stealing the show. So cute. But like great pattern, free, lovely. We're putting it in knit shit. Knit shit. Okay. The Hitchhiker by Martina Bem. Whew. I think I started knitting one of these one time. I see them all the time at festivals. We will forever be haunted by the hitchhiker. It's fine, but I think it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's just, again, it's like that shawl era where everyone was wearing skinny jeans, a t-shirt, and a knit shawl. You know, need I say more? Jason's cashmere hat, basic beginner cable pattern. I get it. I'm going to put it in, like, I'll allow knit. It's pretty inoffensive. Okay, next is the Alaska hat by Camille Descoteau. Okay, so this pattern is so interesting to me. It's so great to use with Spin Cycle because you get that gradient, like Aurora Borealis effect in the background. But the knitting of the trees, I have heard tales of woe because, you know, when you're doing stranded color work, a lot of the times, like, I guess traditionally, it's a very easy, like, your row is only like maybe 4 stitches, like, you know, you can kind of track it. This is not a repeating pattern, or if it is, it's on a very large scale. So you gotta be glued to the color work chart, and it's also a very fine gauge. I believe it's either fingering or sport. And I have just heard, I've heard tales of woe from people both who have knit it and who have helped other people knit it. It is still stunning. It's a very striking knit, so I like definitely get it. I'm gonna put it in irrelevant because I just feel like it's had its time. And Owls by Kate Davies. It's not for me. If it's for you, I'm very happy for you, but I gotta put it in shit knit. I also believe the size range. Okay, the size range has improved, but I feel like when it came out, it did not have a good size range. Look, it's not for me. It's very like 2010 twee. That's fine. I hope you enjoyed it. That and the Hexie Puff Beekeeper's quilt really belong in a Tumblr post together. And that's okay. Okay, fun thing about me, I love a baby knit. If there's anywhere that a very twee pattern belongs, it's on a baby. And so we come to the Berry Baby hat, which is an iconic pattern. That's very 90s. I think it's been around longer and it remains relevant still. And I love her. I think she's great, and I'm putting her in knit shit. I don't care what anyone has to say. This is making me look like I'm a little baby crazy. And to that, I say mind your business. We've got Color Affection by Vera Valmaki. Look, it's just the shawl thing, okay? There was a time and a place. I feel like we'll come back to it. We'll circle back around, but we're not in the circle at the moment. And so I'm putting it in irrelevant. Okay. Sailor slippers. I think we all know. I'm a fan of the sailor slippers. I understand we were in a moment in like 2003 where we were felting everything, and we are very slowly creeping into an era of felting again. Some people do not like this. I think it's fun. And I really like the sailor slippers in particular. Yeah, they're gonna go in knit shit. And I feel great about that. It's totally fine. We've got the fraternal twin of the ranunculus, which is the love note. I just get them confused in my head. I'm getting better now that I've talked about them like a few times this week. Again, it's Tin Can Knits. I would say if you were going to knit the Love Note or the Ranunculus, I'd probably encourage you to knit the Love Note because it's by Tin Can. So I feel like their size range and their shaping and everything are probably very trustworthy. So I'm going to pop her into I'll Allow Knit. It's a good one, I think. Sea Glass Sweater by Woolen Pine. I know people love this. I think it's, you know, people have talked about how great it is for using up scraps. I actually, someone knit one of these in my yarn recently, someone who is local to the Portland community, and it looked stunning. It looked really, really good. So you can use as many colors as you want, but you don't have to use every color. Like, you can do it with a more limited palette. I've never heard anything bad about the fit. I'll allow knit. I think that sounds good to me. 10 stitch blanket. So this is actually the only appearance, sort of tangentially, on the top 50 patterns of Elizabeth Zimmerman. This is not, it's by Frankie Brown, but like it was inspired by an Elizabeth Zimmerman pattern. I find it inoffensive. It's just basically like you knit 10 stitches and you keep going back and forth, but you pick up stitches along the edge, and it's just this like continuous spiral situation. I think it's interesting. We're just gonna put it in I'll Allow Knit because I don't feel strongly either way. Okay. All right. I think you all know that Tim and I try to be very diplomatic about the emotional support chicken. Look, if it brings you joy, you do it. I find it irrelevant. I wouldn't knit it. But also, as we said, never say never. Never say never, but she lives there. This next hat pattern is called the Star-Crossed Slouchy Beret. I don't have any, like, familiarity with this pattern. I feel like maybe it's not even available anymore. Is that right? No longer available. Discontinued. Okay. So, well, it's irrelevant. That answers that question. Simple Summer Tweed by Heidi Kiermaier. I just don't, it's fine. Let me see what the size range is. I already put it in irrelevant, but yeah, size range isn't great. Okay, it's fine. Irrelevant. Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things. Let's see what this size range is. 4XL, 44 inches. Biggest size? Where did I put this? Yeah, I'm gonna... 44 as the biggest size is crazy. Big herringbone cowl, another Pearl Soho up here on the list. I think I know multiple people who have like tried to knit this and then were like, I hate this stitch pattern. It's so much knitting. Again, it's just that big chunky like neck brace of a cowl moment that is not in right now. So I'm going to put this in irrelevant, and that's okay. It's all right. And then we've got the Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West. It is kind of comical that of all of Stephen West's patterns, the Boneyard Shawl, which is like a very basic triangle shawl, not basic, I mean, basic for Stephen West for sure, is, you know, here. I think it's irrelevant because it's just that big shawl moment that is just kind of not in at the moment. Not doing much for me. Worm by Katushika. I remember this hat being very popular. I remember knitting one before I knew about circular needles entirely on double points, and it was so dense, it was probably bulletproof. My friend Christian took that hat when I was in college. That's so funny. I'll allow knit. It's pretty inoffensive. Campside by Alicia Plummer. Again, pretty inoffensive, but I'm putting it, I think it feels like it belongs in Irella Knit just because, again, like what I keep saying about those types of knitting projects. Oh, next up we've got Goldwing by Jennifer Steingass. Her size range is usually pretty good. 67 inches, that's great. I think this is a beautiful design. I've seen some really beautiful ones from coworkers and customers. Yeah, we're gonna put that in Knit Shit. I think that's a great one. That would also be a good like beginning, or like maybe not beginning color work, but like color work, first time color work sweater project. I think that would be a great one. Okay, more baby things. This is the Baby Sophisticate pattern by Lyndon Down. Iconic. It's been around forever. I do not think it's dated. Yeah, I think we're gonna pop her in Knit Shit. I knit one of those for like a coworker of Kay's because when we met, they worked at like an LGBT family resource center, which was very cool. I've never seen anything else like it. And yeah, one of their coworkers was having a baby and we just met, but I was like, any excuse to knit a baby cardigan, and I made them a very, very cute little sweater. So the Norma sweater is up next. Now, Tim and I also just talked about this sweater on the podcast. I think it's a classic. It's very beautiful. I've been seeing a lot of different colorways. I'm deciding on my colorway. I wonder what the size range is because my favorite things is not getting a good track record for sizing. 60 inches. Okay, so basically this will like just fit me. I am putting this in Knit Shit, even though it kind of goes against my morals, but I really do like that pattern. We've got Sarta's Booties next, more baby things. These don't do it for me the way the other baby things do it for me though. They're fine. I also don't really have any like anecdotes to go with them or like any feelings of fondness for them. I think they're kind of an Irella knit. I think that's where I'm leaning toward. Have any of you knit these? I mean, they're cute, they're fine. But yeah, they're just not for me. Broken Seed Stitch socks. They're kind of giving the same vibe as the Hermione's Everyday Sock. Like they just, I think that people end up with so much sock yarn, they're just trying to find like an easy stitch pattern to make it a little bit less boring for themselves. And so these like probably free, patterns kind of get, you know, a snowball effect. I mean, again, they're not offensive at all. It's just, they're fine. So I'll allow knit. I'll allow knit. The Featherweight Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. Wow, I remember I remember this cardigan coming out. The store that I worked at was one of the like flagship stores to carry Quince & Co. So we had like a lot of Quince & Co. trunk shows, and I probably have like held this exact one that is in the photos. Yeah, so very like, it's fine. I think I'll allow knit. It's sort of not, yeah, it's pretty inoffensive. Barley worsted. Another great beginning hat pattern. not much to say about it. And actually the next one is also a Tin Can Knits pattern, which is the flax sweater, but in a fingering weight version. Both of those are fine. Not doing like too much for me. Again, they're like very basics, which is what Tin Can is known for, and we're very grateful that they do what they do so well. So I'll allow knit for both of those. And the 50th item on the Ravelry most favorited list is the Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg. I was looking at this. I find the placement of the motifs a little confusing personally. I don't think it's very flattering, which nothing has to be flattering, but in particular, this is kind of, it strikes me as a little odd. And even though it's culling for DK and lace together, they're using Knitting for Olive and Sandness yarn. It looks very like it's made out of cotton. I'm not sure why I get that vibe. I don't know. It looks like store-bought, but like not in a good way to me. I don't know. It don't really doesn't do anything for me. We're just gonna put it in I'll allow knit because I don't really feel like it's Irrella knit, but that's just not my judge. I don't know. So there we are. That's the 50 most favorited patterns on Ravelry, sorted into tiers. Did I cause you to have tears? What'd you think of this? If you are incredibly offended by anything, please leave a comment. I want to hear your thoughts. You know, with good intentions. This was just a goofy idea I had. I thought I'd see how it went. I do feel very strongly about the 3 patterns I put in Infinite. Yeah. It's all in good fun, okay? Okay, guys. I'll see you very soon. Until next time, bye.